Hey everyone, this is going to be a quick refresher video on kind of some recorder basics. So I have my recorder here, and if you remember, most recorders will split into three pieces. Some only split into two, but mine does split into three. So I have here, this is my foot joint. It goes at the very, very bottom, and mine only has one tone hole, which you can kind of see there. And then I have my middle joint, which has the majority of the tone holes. And I have my head joint, and then part of my head joint is this piece right here. From that side it looks like that, and that's my actual mouthpiece. So the mouthpiece is a part of the head joint. So before I actually start on recorder, I'm going to work on some basics about how I actually use my air. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger in front of my mouth, and then I'm going to blow air on my finger, and it should feel warm. The air should feel warm. So we go. If it feels cold, you might be puckering your lips a little too much, but like if you're going, probably blowing too hard, you probably have your lips a little too stiff. Relax, blow some warm air under your finger. And then once you've got that, try saying the word two over and over, again keeping that warm air on your finger. Two, two, two. And then without the voice, two, two, two. So I'm just kind of blowing with a little bit of tongue. That's a technique we call tonguing. We're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, but that's the basics of it. Then once you've got that, I'm going to take my mouthpiece here without the rest of my recorder rolling away. I'm going to take my mouthpiece, or my head joint, I'm sorry, and I'm going to cover, I'm going to rest it right. I'm going to curl my lower lip. I'm going to rest it right on that. And then I'm going to put my top teeth right on the top, just resting on it. And I'm not biting down. I'm not putting any pressure on my recorder at all. I'm just letting it rest on my bottom lip and my top teeth. And then I'm going to take my upper lip and kind of make a seal around it. So I got bottom lip, top teeth, like that. Then, if I don't cover the bottom, this is what happens. Yikes, horrible. Let's not do that. So I'm going to use the palm of my hand to cover up the hole, and I get a much better sound. And again, I'm blowing warm air. So here's what my recorder sounds like if I use too little air. You'll hear it doesn't quite sound steady. It's quiet, it's unsteady. Here's what happens if I use too much air. Too loud, a little too high. This is what your recorder should sound like with just the right amount of air. That's a nice tone. Once I've got that together, I'm going to say two on it again. That two. You can hear the little breaks in there, and that's when my tongue is saying two. It's making that T sound. All right, now I'm going to put my recorder together. So I'm going to take the larger end. You can kind of see how this side's narrower and this one's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to attach it to my head joint, and I want these tone holes to line up with that whistle. And I actually got that pretty well on there. And we're not going to use the foot joint, but I am going to go ahead and put it on just for the sake of it. So for today, we always want to remember that we have our left hand, this is my left hand, and that always goes on the top of the recorder. So my right hand, I'm just going to hold the foot joint for today, right about where there's no tone holes, I'm just going to hold it. And my thumb goes on the thumb hole, and then first finger, second finger, third finger. And I'm not going to worry about that too much today, but all I want to do today is make sure that I'm using the roundest part of my finger. So not the very tip, but that nice round, we call it the fleshy part of your finger. And I'm going to use that to cover the holes. And I'm going to go. And then maybe if I feel like it, I might try to put, if this is hole 1, 2, 3, this is tone hole 4, and this one is 5. I'm going to try to get my thumb, my right thumb, on the bottom, in between tone holes 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. So really, if you look like that, my thumb sits in between the last finger on my left hand and the first finger on my right hand. And then maybe I try to add some fingers from my right hand. Play around. It doesn't matter what you play. Just work on getting a nice tone and making sure that the tone holes are totally covered with your finger. If you're struggling, try curving your fingers a little bit more. You don't want them flat like that. You want them to have a nice curve. And then make sure you're using that really fleshy part of your finger. If you have any questions, you can send me a video or you can set up a Zoom session. Just send me an email. I'm happy to help however you want. Tomorrow, we're going to work a little bit more on tonguing, so don't worry about that too much today. Just worry about creating a nice tone, having a nice grip, and using the right part of your finger. Happy practicing!